Hello, I'm Elaine Scholly, and this is Let's Talk Alzheimer's for a fresh approach to caregiving. Today's topic, Connections Between the Brain and Body, Part 2, Alzheimer's and the Limbic System, from the most important stage. In Part 1, we learned the basic brain structure. In Part 2, we learn how the brain and body connect. This information will not provide college credits for Biology 101. It will help the caregiver and family understand the unusual behavior of a dementia patient. Let's get started. In Part 1, we learned the functions of the cerebrum, cerebellum, and the brainstem. Next up, the limbic system. To talk about the limbic system, it's important to know about the nervous system. Together, they keep the brain and body in sync. It's powered by neurons. Neurons produce action potential or nerve impulses. If a finger touches a hot stove, the finger is instantly pulled from the burner. After some shaking and jumping around, ouch, or another expletive is shouted, a blister begins to form and it's plunged into cold water. This happens instantaneously with little thought because deep in the middle of the cerebrum is the limbic system. This is a simple diagram that helps show what it looks like. This is where we find the amygdala and hippocampus and other important structures that keep our body working. It's involved with everything we do. It oversees emotions, memory, learning, and behavior. The singular word amygdala and hippocampus are commonly used, yet we have two of each, one on either side of the brain, the amygdala and the hippocampi. There's not a consensus on the number of structures in the limbic system. The thalamus, hypothalamus, and basal ganglia are only a few. These structures communicate with glands, hormones, and the cortex. No one structure is responsible for everything, but together this network oversees our bodily functions and who we are, except when affected by a neurodegenerative disease like Alzheimer's. Before we get back to the hot stove, we need to understand what a neuron does. First, any movement we make is the result of dedicated neurons in the nervous system. This includes talking, blinking, digesting a grape, or catching a ball. Basically anything we do. Here is an illustration of a neuron. This is a picture of a live neuron taken with an electron microscope. A neuron has four main parts: dendrite, cell body, an axon, that's the long skinny part, and an axon terminal. At the end of each dendrite and axon terminal is a synapse cleft. That's in the enlarged box. You'll hear these neuron parts repeated as we go along. Neurons have different jobs, so come in different shapes and sizes. A big toe neuron, it can be 3 feet long, while an eye neuron is just only inches. They may look different, but like people, they have the same parts and function in the same way. They're designed to send and receive messages between the brain and body. A side note, sensory and motor neurons are part of the hot stove story. Now, follow the sequence. A sensory dendrite picks up the hot message and sends it through the cell body. It travels down the axon to the axon terminal, where it jumps across the synapse cleft. Wait, so you know, a synapse cleft can't be seen with the naked eye. For comparison, an inch is about 25.4 million nanometers long. The thickness of a sheet of paper is about 100,000 nanometers. The width of a synapse is 20 to 40 nanometers. That's thin. Back to the sequence. At the synapse cleft of an axon terminal, the message is passed to the dendrite of another neuron, and the process continues neuron to neuron until the message gets to the brain. It happens fast. It's estimated each neuron synapse fires 200 times a second. Try to count to 200 in a second. And did you notice all those other dendrites and axon terminals? They're all working at the same time. Now, the message is in the brain. When the limbic system receives the hot message, it makes sure glands and hormones tell muscles, bones, vocal cords, and that blister maker how to react. Motor neurons then rush this information from the brain to the entire body, muscles, bones, pain center, all of it. Mom jerks her finger from the stove, shakes it, says something. A blister appears as she plunges the finger into cold water to help the pain and swelling. It's what she learned to do. That's how the system works, unless disease or an accident has destroyed the neuron's ability to do its job. If muscles and bones don't get the message to move, Mom's finger stays on the stove. She feels no pain. She's unaware of what's happening. As brain connections are lost, Mom's behavior continues to change. Her balance, posture, mood swings, and personal attacks will be affected. Repetitive conversations become no conversations. Once the caregiver and family understand the loss of these connections is the cause of Mom's odd behavior, they realize Mom is not intentionally a mean, crazy old lady. She suffers from a disease and needs our help. Caregivers, if Mom had a stroke, cancer, or severe injuries in an accident, ask this question: how would I want to be treated in this situation? The golden rule? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Being aware of these connections prepares us to make decisions. Once we think differently, we gain knowledge. Thanks for taking the time to listen. Leave a comment or question and visit Let's Talk Alzheimer's with Elaine Scholly for other thought-provoking videos. We'd love to hear from you.